before I ask you to react to Netanyahu, I want to know what you, as a Palestinian, feel might be the impact of the elimination of Yahya Sinwar.
Well, I'm afraid that what happened is not really compatible with what the Israeli side is saying. I think they were looking for a photo of victory or an image of victory, but Sinwar gave them a different image. And the fact that they distributed the images of his body, which is something that is unacceptable by all terms, has revealed that he was fighting. He was not hiding in a tunnel, as Netanyahu claimed. He was not hiding behind Palestinian civilians, taking them as human shields, as Israeli propaganda used to say. He was not hiding behind Israeli prisoners or captives, as they also claimed. He was fighting. And this image will make him look like a hero for most Palestinians and most Arabs and most people who are against Israeli occupation and against the oppression that Palestinians are subjected to. So in my opinion, Sinwar one more time has failed the Israelis. He has failed their intelligence. They couldn't get to him. He, not only on the 7th of October, but during the whole last year, and they admit that. And he fought. He was courageous, and he was not a coward, as they claim. But the big question here is, after the death of Sinwar, will this push for ending this terrible war? Will this force Netanyahu to accept a ceasefire? I doubt it. Because in my opinion, Netanyahu doesn't care about the Israeli hostages, as he claimed. He doesn't care about their lives. All he wants is to expand this war. And he's substituting an occupation in the West Bank by enlarging it and making it an occupation of West Bank, of Gaza Strip, of big parts of Lebanon, as he hopes. And he wants to drag the whole region into a terrible regional war, hoping even to drag the United States into a war with Iran. So the death of Sinwar, if it is true, will, in my opinion, expose Netanyahu even further as a person who doesn't want to end this terrible situation. And let me tell you quickly that today, at this very moment, the people of Gaza are suffering horribly. The north of Gaza is without water, without food for 13 days. They are under terrible siege. They are bombarded constantly. Civilians are dying around the clock. People were burned to death in most recent Israeli strikes in an area which is a hospital. So the public of Gaza is suffering. 150,000 is the number of Palestinians killed or injured since the 7th of October. And this atrocity, this massacre, must stop. And it will not stop unless the United States of America forces Netanyahu and Israel to stop.
Mustapha Barghouti, I know that you are, obviously pointing out the terrible suffering also of the people of Gaza, the Palestinians, tens of thousands. I'm assuming you feel you have to defend Sinwar, although I don't understand why, because Hamas is against you and against what you stand for. And nobody can really know what Sinwar was doing. Certainly, Ronan Bergman says that he was probably coming up, as they know, for air, for oxygen, and was caught with, his defenses down, so to speak. But nonetheless, what I want to know is, do you believe that... we've heard from people from Gaza in the last few hours, it's been reported, that some of them are glad that he's gone because they believe that he brought down the horrendous rain of bombs and fire on them for the last year. Some of them are not glad because they think, he's the only so-called resistance leader. But those who are glad, don't you think they have the right to be glad and to hope for something else? Because nothing was going well for them while Sinwar was in charge.
Kристиан, I don't defend Sinwar. I defend Palestinian people. I defend the right of the Palestinian people to be free. And if we did not have the Israeli occupation, if I didn't grow up all my life under Israeli occupation, you wouldn't have seen Sinwar or Hamas. If Israel stopped its occupation and ended the system of settler colonialism and stop the atrocities, including the ethnic cleansing of more than 70% of the Palestinian people since 1948, we wouldn't be in this situation. If you ask me, I would tell you the last thing that anybody should do is to blame the victim. And the last thing that one should do is not to see us Palestinians as equal human beings. If a Jewish life is precious, a Palestinian life also should be precious. And if it is not acceptable to kill an Israeli child, it is absolutely unacceptable also to kill 17,000 Palestinian children. No, I don't think that the people will look at Sinwar in the way that is described, and probably from Israeli media outlets. I think they will perceive him as a hero who fought. And I'm not defending him here as much as I am stating to you the facts that everybody should understand and know. And the reality is that Palestinian resistance is there because we are oppressed, under occupation, deprived of our life, deprived of our freedom, deprived of our right to be prosper and have peace. We've struggled all our life, whether we struggle in a peaceful way or in other ways, we are always oppressed.
Yeah.
And that's what the world must understand. The reality is that 7th of October, and I repeat, was not a cause. It was a result, an outcome of endless occupation, of settler colonialism, of oppression, and of a system of ethnic cleansing.
But Mustafa Barghouti, I believe everybody believes that no Israeli or no Palestinian child deserves to be killed. I think the whole world has reacted to what they've seen over this last year, all over this horrible, horrible war that started October 7th. But I want to know from you, because as you heard, Noam Biton, he also believes there needs to be work to rebuild or build proper relations in fairness and justice with the Palestinians. That's been your life's work as well. Do you believe that there is any window now for some kind of rebooting of a political situation? You certainly have the United States on your side. You have Europe. You have all the people who believe in a two-state solution, justice, security, dignity for all.
I believe there can be a window if all those, including the United States administration, who speak about two-state solution will combine that with saying that the Israeli military occupation of Palestinian land would end, and that all illegal settlements, according to international law and even according to American policy, will be removed out of the occupied territories, rather than building new settlements now in Gaza. And finally, that they would recognize the state of Palestine. If these three things happen, we will believe those who speak about two-state solution. If they don't say that, then it's just a hypocrisy, giving Israel more time to continue to the occupation and continue settlement building and continue what Netanyahu is doing, which is killing any opportunity for peace or for two-state solution. I think we can get to peace, but now at this very moment, I don't think that I have to be fair and honest with you, as I try always to be. Under Netanyahu's government, and his fascist ministers like Smotrich and Ben-Gvir, there will be no opening to a window of peace.
So let me
this government has to be removed.
Let me ask you, though, what about, is it time to finally admit that people like Sinwar, who were public and went on record, and other Hamas leaders saying that our fight needs the deaths or the sacrifice of hundreds or thousands or whatever of our Palestinians. That is our fight. They have to pay the price. Are you ready to say that that just hasn't worked? It just hasn't worked.
I'm ready to tell you that I believe that eventually peace is possible. I believe that, of course, one act of violence leads to another act of violence. Of course, we understand that. But also I must say that even Hamas was ready to accept a compromise. Even Hamas was ready to accept a Palestinian state on 1967 borders. And all of that was ignored. And I want to say that in this particular case, it wasn't the Palestinian side that obstructed the ceasefire. It was Netanyahu. And the proof will be in front of you in the coming days. Because now Senwar, as they say, is killed. Now who's obstructing the way to ceasefire? I think it's Netanyahu. And it's time for the West, and especially the United States administration, and especially people like Kamala Harris, to understand that it is time to stop being totally biased to Israel. It is time to respect the values that American presidents speak about, the values of human rights, the values of international law, that Israel has violated dramatically, continuously, in the most vicious way.
Mustafa
It's time to see the Palestinians as they should be seen, equal human beings.